All right, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with our webinar, which is titled Auto Apply AI Tools, What Job Seekers Need to Know. Here's a quick overview of the things that we'll be covering today. First, we'll start with sort of a general overview of what these AI auto apply tools are, what they do, and how they work. Next, we'll examine four main categories or types of auto apply tools and discuss some of the different use cases for each type of tool. Then we'll make sure to go over some best practices for when you're actually using these tools to make sure you're using them effectively and getting the most out of them. And lastly, we'll finish out our webinar with our live audience Q&A so you all have a chance to ask your questions directly with one of our career experts. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin our discussion with a general overview of what these tools are, what they do, and how they work. Now, there are a number of different tools out there with a variety of features and functions. But in a general sense, AI auto apply tools are software applications, or in some cases, browser extensions designed to help job seekers quickly and efficiently apply to multiple job openings. These tools use artificial intelligence to automate part or all of the job application process. And depending on the tool that you use, features can include things like scanning job boards for open positions that match your preferences, filling out applications on your behalf using, your saved resume or profile information, tailoring your resumes or cover letters to align with specific job descriptions, and tracking your applications to help you organize your follow-ups or any next steps in the process. And some tools also offer features like keyword optimization to help your resume with any applicant tracking system filters and provide instant job alerts or smart filtering to find roles that align with your specific career goals. Now, with most of these tools, you typically start by creating a profile. And within your profile, you're usually prompted to upload your resume, share details about your work history and your strongest skills, and answer questions about your job search preferences so that it can find and apply for roles that you are a good fit for and that match your preferences or your goals in your job search. And this is something that these tools do with varying degrees of accuracy. And then based on the information that you've shared within your profile, the tool will then search for roles that match your preferences, and then they will use AI to fill out applications for you, including, answering questions or responding to prompts that are included in the application. And it bases those responses on your resume or information you've shared in your profile, and then it submits the applications on your behalf. And different tools can apply to different volumes of applications, with some offering limitless generic applications and others offering fewer tailored applications, which actually brings me to our next point, which is that some of these tools, but not all of them, will take the time to customize your application materials to align with the job description based again on your resume or the information that you've included in your profile. And this is an important part of the application, this customization to align with job descriptions. It's really important part of the application process if you're hoping to portray yourself as a competitive, highly qualified candidate, which is extremely important in today's current competitive market. And some of these tools will also let you review and approve your applications before they're submitted, allowing you to kind of keep a human in the loop, as it is often called, which for many people is preferable to leaving the decision up to the AI's judgment solely. Keeping that human in the loop when working with AI tools is really important. Now, let's go ahead and discuss the four main types or categories of auto apply AI tools and the various use cases for each type of tool. So the first type of tool, which is probably the most widely known, are mass apply tools. And just like their name suggests, these tools are designed to apply for a lot of jobs quietly in the background while you focus on other aspects of your job search. Some of these tools are tied to a single job search platform, but others have the ability to connect to multiple job boards. But very few of them can apply across all job boards or can apply directly on company websites. And in many cases, you'll tell the tool where to search by choosing from a list of supported platforms. An issue that some people have with these tools, though, is that due to the volume of applications that they're submitting on your behalf, there is very minimal customization of your application or your application materials before they're sent out. Meaning that your applications will be somewhat generic, sort of a one-size-fits-all kind of approach, and this can limit the competitiveness of your candidacy because it is typically best, like we mentioned, to tailor or customize your resume for each job application so that you're showing how your background specifically aligns with that particular role. Now, that being said, there are definitely some best use cases for these types of tools. For example, if you are at the early stages of your career and are primarily looking for entry-level positions that are very similar to one another, then this type of high quantity approach can be useful. Or maybe you are looking for a side gig or a part-time job while you continue to search for your primary target role. You could set one of these tools to cast a wide net for you in the background, which can be helpful for maximizing your chances. In terms of the pros, these tools, which tend to be easier to set up than some other tools on the market, they can definitely save you some time on certain aspects of your job search, freeing you up to work on other things that require a deeper human element. The cons, though, really stem from that one-size-fits-all approach that I mentioned, because that lack of personalization, that can lead to a fairly low response rate, and you might find that the tool even ends up applying for roles that really aren't a good fit for you. And also, you should be aware that some job boards that you might be aiming to use could not allow automated access. So attempting to use these tools, they could potentially be rejected, or it could violate the job board's terms and conditions. Now, kind of moving up the ladder in terms of sophistication, we now have smart apply assistants. And these tools tend to have more intelligent matching functions to find roles that fit your background and your preferences. And like mass apply tools, they can then fill out your applications for you based on the information that you've shared in your profile. And again, some of these tools are tied to a single platform. Like if you're using FlexJobs, you've probably seen the expert apply feature on the FlexJobs website. And others of these tools, they can connect to multiple job boards that permit automated access. These types of tools are great for saving time in your job search while still making sure that you are able to apply for relevant roles and customize your applications at least a bit more than you might find in some mass apply tools. Sort of a balance between quantity and quality in the job search. And similarly to mass apply tools, you can have a smart apply assistant working for you in the background to help increase your efforts while you focus on other applications through, specific company websites or niche job boards, or even networking with professionals in your field. So these tools can sort of free you up for some of those higher value activities. And in terms of the pros, these tools allow sort of that level of targeting or customization that mass apply tools might be missing. And many of them, like a tool called Sonara, which is actually in the FlexJobs family of tools, prepare your applications and then allow you to review them before they are submitted, giving you control over, important components of that process. Again, using that term human in the loop, that is an important part of interacting with AI tools, and some of these tools do allow that type of feature. Now, the main drawbacks of these tools are that while, they do allow for some customization, it can still be a bit limited. Some of them might also restrict the number of applications that they'll submit for you within a given time frame, like a few applications per day or per week. And roles that are outside of the tool's reach or beyond their matching logic might not be included. So it is possible that some opportunities could miss your notice, which again is why it's important to sort of kind of job search in tandem with these tools. All right, now we have tailored apply platforms. And these types of tools, like the name suggests, give you a greater degree of refinement or customization of your applications and then submit them automatically for you once your materials are ready. Excuse me. And these types of tools are best for job seekers that are highly focused on quality, but still want to automate, the application aspect of your job search process in order to help save some time. And in terms of pros, these tools provide a strong balance between quality and automation, and many of them, similar to Smart Apply Assistants, allow you to review your applications before they're submitted and manually override or make changes before they are sent out. For the cons or the drawbacks, these tools can require a greater initial investment of time because they require more setup in the beginning. And they also apply at a slower pace than other auto apply tools. And because of the higher levels of customization that they offer, they tend to cost quite a bit more than other options that are out there. And then lastly, we have job match marketplaces, which, unlike the other three categories, job match marketplaces don't actually apply directly on your behalf. These platforms typically use the information you've shared in your profile to match you to jobs that are a good fit and then invite you to apply. So they don't automate the application process. They do definitely expedite the process of searching for jobs that are a good fit. And these types of tools are great for people who are unsure of what they want to target, like those who are just starting out in their career or people who are maybe making a career change. And the benefits of these tools are that they emphasize fit, they save time in the search process, and they can help prevent you from applying for roles that aren't in alignment with your background. And they also might help you find roles that you wouldn't have found yourself otherwise. The drawbacks are that these tools involve a slower process. They might have a limited reach in terms of the job boards that they can access and search, and they typically don't have auto apply features like the other types of tools we talked about. But some of them might include auto apply features just for an additional charge. Okay, so before we close out, a few final thoughts about best practices for using these types of tools. Now, you likely noticed that I didn't really suggest specific tools that you should check out or rank specific tools by name, but that's because everyone has different needs and preferences, and a tool that might be right for one person might not be right for another. Also, there are so many of these tools on the market with new ones being created all the time, and many of these tools kind of cross over into multiple categories, which is why I wanted to keep things a bit broader in this presentation. Now, that being said, as you research different specific tools that you might want to try in order to find the right one for you, hopefully the information in this webinar will help you understand what category of tool you might want to look for specifically to help you meet your individual needs and preferences so that you can make an informed decision about which features and functions are best for you. But with all that in mind, remember that automation should be used to aid you in your search, not do everything for you. It's not here to replace you, it's here to help you. So it's highly important to keep yourself, the human, in the loop when you're using AI tools. You should also, whenever possible, review your applications before they are submitted on your behalf, or at the very least, spend time manually ensuring that other applications are effectively customized for the roles that you are really interested in, so you can be confident that you're putting your best foot forward for those high value roles while these AI tools do some job searching in the background for you. It's also important not to rely on a single job search strategy. For instance, while these tools can supplement your search, they shouldn't be the only approach that you use. So don't forget to keep an eye on, the hiring pages of companies you want to target, or tap into your network, or check niche job boards, and consistently seek out new ways to move your search in the right direction. And lastly, before you set any of these tools to apply on your behalf, you want to make sure that you've optimized your resume and any other job search materials for your specific audience, meaning recruiters and hiring managers that are looking to fill the types of roles that you are targeting. So you need to do your research, and I recommend reviewing a variety of job descriptions for your target roles so that you have a sense of what should be included in your materials and how to convey your background in a way that is going to resonate with your target audience. Because if your materials aren't relevant to them, there's a really good chance that you will go overlooked. So taking the time to optimize your resume, especially when you are considering using like a mass apply tool, for example, is extremely important. All right, so just a few final action steps before we move on to our audience Q&A. Make sure to do your research into a variety of tools on the market because there are a lot of them out there. And I know it probably feels a little overwhelming to try to research these tools at first, but that research is going to help you make sure that you're finding a tool that is going to be best for you. You also want to consider your needs and the functions of different tools as you're researching so you can make sure you're narrowing down your options to the ones that will best meet those needs. Make sure that you choose the right tool for you, but don't rely solely on that tool because it's important to use AI to supplement your efforts, not replace you entirely. And then think about your audience and customize as much as possible. Because if you aren't keeping things relevant to your audience and instead are solely relying on a one size fits all approach, it's going to be easy to be overlooked by employers. Okay, so as a reminder, a copy of the recording as well as resources shared within this presentation will be emailed out to you all within the next week. Do be sure to check your spam folder just in case it gets filtered there. For even more tips, tricks, and resources, I recommend going to the FlexJobs blog. You'll see the URL there on the screen, excuse me. Now let's go ahead and open up to your questions. Please remember to type those into the Q&A area rather than the chat section, and feel free to give a thumbs up to anyone else's question you'd also like to have answered so that we know which are the most popular. All right, everyone, we are going to move into the Q&A portion of our webinar now. Before we dive into your questions, could someone just confirm for me in the chat section that you're able to hear me clearly? I always like to verify that before I start answering questions. All right, wonderful. I appreciate that. So thank you. And my name is Keith Spencer once again, and I am one of our career experts here at FlexJobs, and I'll be answering your questions for you today. So let's head over to that Q&A section together. And remember to click that thumbs up button on any questions that you would also like to hear the answer to. So our first question here with the highest number of upvotes, this person is saying that they keep reading about scam postings. Are these programs able to identify possible scam postings? So that's a really good question. And a couple of different sort of thoughts come to mind here because I can't definitively answer for you yes or no, because some of these, tools might be able to detect that and avoid those. Others might not. I would think in terms of likelihood, sort of those mass apply tools, those are ones that would be, potentially more likely to accidentally apply for a scam posting. But the smart apply assistants and, the tailored apply tools, those tools that are looking a bit more closely at your potential fit for different roles, those are going to be analyzing job postings a bit more carefully. And I would imagine that they are going to be a bit more cautious in terms of what jobs they apply for and able to kind of identify suspect job postings a little bit better than other tools might. But this is one of the challenges of potentially using these tools is we're still in the fairly early stages of these types of tools. So you do want to be careful and you want to do your research. So that's definitely a good question that I would want to investigate before I invest in a specific tool. Now, that being said, if one of these tools does accidentally apply to a scam job, it's not the end of the world because you still are, your own first line of defense. So I really recommend that you make sure that you are, paying attention to the warning signs, making sure that you're doing some research so that you're well versed on, what those warning signs might be, to share some obvious ones for you, or I shouldn't say obvious, but to share some of the big ones for you. If they are, asking you to, pay for your own training or your own equipment, if they are trying to collect like sensitive information from you that isn't just, your contact information that's included in your resume, like they're asking for, your social security number or your bank account information, especially early on in the process, that's a huge red flag. Yes, legitimate employers do need some personal information from you, but it comes at the very end of the process, and they usually collect that through some type of secure, like document signing platform. Let's see, if there is no interview involved in the process, like they just say, hey, we got your application, we'd love to hire you, or maybe there's only just one or two interviews and they're very brief, maybe they're over like text or like a messaging application, there's never actually any like face-to-face interaction with another person, that should also be a red flag. So those are some of the big ones. I do recommend, though, we have that URL for our blog there on the screen. If you go to that blog and in the search bar, just type in scam, you'll see we have tons of resources and articles about scams as well. That's a good place to, kind of start your research to help protect yourself. But really good question. I'm going to make sure that I investigate that a little further on my own there, but hopefully what I shared with you is helpful for you up to this point, at least. Okay, next one here. So this person is saying, in the context of the different levels of AI tools that you shared, where does LinkedIn fit? I always get notices from them that I fit this job listing or another, and I'm not sure why. So yeah, this question is a good one as well, and it kind of highlights some of the overlap that you have between different tools. I would think that the easy apply feature on LinkedIn, that would kind of qualify as, a little bit of that like smart apply assistant. But, I don't know, I don't have access to their, back end algorithms to see like what level of like smart matching they are doing. If it's more sophisticated, then it could also go into a little bit of that, job matching marketplace. But if there's very little customization, then maybe it's more of like a mass apply tool, or it could be some of all of them. So it's really difficult to categorize them. That's why I tried to give 4 broad categories, but explain that there is that little bit of overlap in terms of why you are getting these jobs suggested to you. That is likely based on the credentials and qualifications, and even just the keywords that you are listing in your profile, because it has access to the information that you have shared, and it is comparing that to job postings, and then telling you what they think you would be a good fit for. And like a lot of job search sites, it's not always accurate, because some job postings have a lot of variety to them and might include a lot of different qualifications, a lot of different keywords that you might be triggering in your profile, but it might not actually be a good fit with your preferences and what you're targeting. That's why with these specialized AI tools, the ones that have sort of a robust set of filters and areas to input your preferences in your profile, that can help you kind of narrow down those possibilities more. So usually when there's a little bit more of an involved process on the front end with sharing your information, filling out your profile, that tends to yield some more accurate results. So hopefully that is helpful for you. And thank you for asking that question. Let's see. So next one here, do you have any specific recommendations for free AI job search tools for entry level roles? So with this is a tricky one as well, because when you are looking at specifically free tools, they do tend to be a bit more limited in what they have available to them. So I would recommend like check out the different tools that seem like they could be right for you, and then see if they have different options of features available. So like with most software programs that are out there, they have tiers to them, different costs associated with them. So you might find that some have specific, free, features that you are able to access. And then if you upgrade, you could access other ones as well. But like, I don't have specific ones that I'm going to recommend because, I don't necessarily know specifically what you're looking for. I don't know if that, that free or not free is like a hard and fast sort of limit you're trying to put on these tools. So, it's very challenging, but I do recommend do some of the research, see, what you could potentially access for what different price ranges, so to speak. And if you simply just do a search engine search for like AI job search tools or auto apply AI tools, you're going to find a lot of options to explore. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And thank you for asking that question. Here's another good question. So can you get viruses from AI programs? So not specifically, like if you were to use a legitimate AI tool and have it apply on your behalf, it should not be capable of accidentally downloading a virus to your computer. But that being said, this is another reason why research is so important. You want to make sure that you are identifying legitimate AI tools. I would recommend, reading reviews, just like with any type of like online purchase you're considering making. You want to make sure that you're reading a variety of reviews, that you are using, the legitimate site. So, that's where you really want to be careful is, what links are you clicking on and what are you downloading? Like that's where you need to, you again are the first line of defense for yourself there, or the best line of defense, I guess I should say. So want to reiterate the importance of research there. Hopefully that is helpful for you. Okay, another person is asking for recommended resources to use. Just to say again, I don't want to either criticize or recommend specific tools. Just trying to, help you all make informed decisions about, the different tools that are out there, the different types of tools that are out there. So as you are researching on your own, you can find ones that will be right for you. Next one here, this person is asking about roles for older job seekers. So really, this is a little bit of a tricky question to answer because, I would recommend a couple different things. Like, are you looking for roles that are related to the other career experience that you have, like in a specific field or industry? If that is the case, there is a good resource out there called the Age Friendly Institute. And they actually assign a certified age-friendly, certification for different employers who are committed to, being a good place to work for workers 40 plus. So that would be a good option to check out. Or if you're in a situation where maybe you are, kind of winding down your career, thinking about semi-retiring, in that situation, I would recommend looking either, are there, some part-time roles within the field that I've been working in? Are there some roles that maybe I could pursue that I don't necessarily have experience in, but they have lower barriers to entry, like perhaps, data entry or customer service or administrative type roles. So really, different options out there that you want to consider based on what your preferences might be. So that's kind of step one, is really make sure that you're figuring out, what are my preferences? What kind of things am I looking to pursue? That will be, that will help guide the rest of your search there. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Starting point for how to search for a possible tool. I mentioned this a moment ago, but I'll reiterate here. I definitely recommend Googling or Binging or whatever your search engine of choice is, either job search AI tools or auto apply AI tools, or actually both of them, and exploring the different options that pop up. That's a good starting point. And then, like I said, review the services they offer, review, the details about what their tool does, review, their price points, and then look at, user reviews as well to try to find the right one for you. And I mentioned, in the presentation, like it is a little bit overwhelming to research all your different options out there, but, you really want to make sure that you're landing on the one that is going to align with your needs and preferences specifically, not just, a random one that, I told you to go use or something like that. So hopefully that is helpful for you. Let's see. Okay, here's another one that's really good and a little bit tricky to answer because we are still in such early stages of these tools. So this person is asking, is there compelling evidence that these tools increase applicant chance of success, i.e. being invited for interviews? So that's something that I don't think anybody has done a large scale sort of study on up to this point. I have read a lot of anecdotal information. There have been some reporters out there, for example, who have used some of these tools and then written sort of their own blog reviews. You read mixed reviews on user reviews as well. So I think a few years from now, when there is enough information out there and they have been studied enough, we'll have some better idea of how successful they can be. But I think, your level of success depends on picking the right tool and then making sure you're doing everything that you need to help that tool be as successful as possible. So, for example, optimizing your resume ahead of time, making sure that in your profile you are being very clear with what it is that you are looking for, what your needs and your preferences are, making sure that you are, considering what it is you're looking for and finding the tool that aligns with that best. Because, like I gave for the example with mass apply tools, if you're just looking for something part-time, like a side gig, or something entry level where, you might not need a significant degree of customization in your application materials, well, then, your chances of success could be great. If you're using a mass apply tool for higher level roles where you do typically require a greater degree of customization, well, then your chances of success would probably be significantly lower. So that's why it's so important to make sure you're finding the right tool for your specific needs and what it is you're looking for. So hopefully that is helpful for you. And then let's see, we're a couple minutes over our time here, but I am going to answer one more question here. This person is saying, any thoughts on protecting your privacy and personal data using these tools? So just like any tool that you might use online or any job searching that you might want to do online, do recommend not oversharing when it comes to sensitive information. So for example, it's always a good idea to remove your street address from any resumes that you are putting out there online. You just stick to your town, your state, or your country, and your zip code. It's a good idea to create a job search specific email address so that your personal email address, if it were to be compromised online in some way, shape, or form, your personal email address is not floating around out there within these tools or within your resume or what have you. So definitely, once again, another situation where you are your best line of defense here. So make sure that you are making some good decisions with sharing your personal information. And then, like I mentioned earlier with scams, if anybody is asking you, particularly in the early stages of the process, for personal sensitive information, that should set off some alarm bells and raise your level of caution there. So hopefully that is helpful for you. And thank you for asking that question. We are going to go ahead and draw to a close here. Really appreciate you all taking the time to join us today. I sincerely hope that both the presentation and the Q&A were beneficial for you all. Highly encourage you to check out some of our future webinars. We have one coming up on Tuesday, August 5th, called How to Upskill to Transform your job search and future-proof your career. That is at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then on Wednesday, August 6th at 11 a.m. Eastern, we have a webinar called How to Answer the Most Common Job Interview Questions. So thank you once again for joining us today. Really hope that this was helpful for you, and I wish you all the best of luck in your job search. Take care.